Ice, Solos, Rumble. In other words, Ice is way better than Rumble. And if you don't believe me, then make sure you watch to the end so we can go over each strength and weakness of both fruits. Let's begin. Alright, now I'm going to cover every move on Ice and Rumble so we can get a good look at what both fruits are good for and what their movesets excel at. Starting with Ice Z. The Z move is one of the best combo extenders Ice can offer, and it lasts for quite some time, and pairs really well with Ice C. With all that being said, there is one huge weakness to Ice Z, and that would be Kentricking it, so do be cautious of that. Moving on to Ice X. This is a move I consider as a throwaway move. What that means is this is a move that I would use more so outside of the combo than inside of the combo. Now, the best thing about this move is how far it pushes back people, so it's really good for defense, especially if you're low on HP. It can also be used against air campers who are just a few jumps above the ground, and it's good if you want to lower their can or just do, a little bit of extra damage. Now, this next move is of course going to be the best move on Ice, which is Ice C. Ice C provides easily the best and fastest stun in the entire game. It's very versatile in many Ice combos, which is another reason it's the best. It pairs excellently well with moves such as Ice Z and Ice V. It is great for stunning, combo extending, and if you have good enough aim, it's even a good combo starter. Next, we have Ice V. This will be your main combo starter while using Ice. Just make sure that you don't miss this move because if you miss it, it has a fairly long cooldown and you can get countered pretty easily if you do miss it because you basically stun yourself. Lastly, we have Ice F. This is definitely the worst move Ice has to offer. However, there is one cool thing you can do with it. So the only thing I really would use it for is going up terrain that is slightly slanted. Here's an example. If you do learn where these places are, you can actually do really good in PvP, especially if you're low or getting teamed. Here are some of the main spots that I use when I'm using Ice F. So, overall, Ice F is a solid transportation move, but only in certain places and scenarios. Now, let's cover every move on Rumble and see how we're supposed to use them. Let's begin with the Z move. So, the Z move can also be somewhat of a throwaway type of move, but it really depends on the user or the combo. The Z move is really good and easy to hit since it does somewhat provide auto aim to it. The X move is a very good combo starter with huge AoE, and of course, it has a relatively low cooldown. It pairs well with basically every Rumble move in its kit, and it can also be used in the air if you know what you're doing. Moving on to the C move. The C move is probably my favorite move on Rumble, considering you can just snipe people from very far away with it. It's a very good combo starter / combo extender and is arguably the most skilled move Rumble has to offer. Next, we have Rumble V. This move is actually a bit more skilled than you might have thought, because it has a very long wind-up time before you can actually use the move. Even with the long wind-up time considered, it makes up for that with its massive AoE. Lastly, we will cover Rumble F. This move is easily the most versatile and useful move on Rumble, and is one of the main reasons people actually use Rumble. This move is fantastic for offense and defense. So for offense, it's a great move if you want to close the gap between you and your opponent. It's also a great move if you just want to finish off certain combos such as Superhuman Z, C, and X. It is an excellent move if you need to run and heal, which is what most Rumble users do when they're low. It can also be a great option for escaping combos if your Soru happens to be on cooldown. However, just note that Flash Step is a much better option for escaping combos than Rumble F is. Alright, so now hopefully you all understand how both fruits work. Now let me talk about why Ice is actually a better fruit than Rumble. Alright, so I think we should start with Ice. So with Ice, as we all know, it does have some weaknesses to it. However, we should also realize that Ice has the best stuns in the game, which more than make up for the weaknesses that it has. So let's cover the first weakness. The first weakness of Ice has to be the fact that you can just air camp against it. However, most people don't realize that you can just use a gun or a fighting style to counter this by just pushing them downwards. For example, Soul Guitar X will make people instantly drop from the sky. Another weakness of Ice would just be how long the Ice V cooldown is. Considering it is your main combo starter, having a long cooldown is definitely not ideal. The last weakness of Ice I would consider would be its mobility. If we compare Rumble's to Ice's mobility, it's not even a competition. Rumble is just that much better. But let's not forget that Soru combined with Ice is what makes up for this weakness. So with Rumble, there are some noticeable weaknesses. The first one being how it basically makes you stay in place with a lot of its moves. The C and V moves are the moves that get you punished the most if you use them incorrectly, just because they can both make you stand still for quite some time before actually doing the move. Another thing that I noticed about Rumble would be how a lot of its moves seem to be a lot easier to Kentrick when we compare it to Ice and its moves. So one big reason I will give for Ice being better than Rumble would just be considering that Ice is by far the best fruit to use on the ground, and considering that most fights start and end on the ground, Ice is just too good. Even if we look at how good Rumble is when used in the air and on the ground combined, Ice is just so broken for fights on the ground that Ice is just that much better. The final reason I'll say for Ice being not only better than Rumble, but the best fruit in the entire game, yes, I did just say that, would be that Ice has the best combo extenders and the best stuns in its kit compared to any other fruit in the game. If we compare something like Dark or Rumble to Ice and its stuns, it still wouldn't even be a competition for Ice. Also, considering that stuns and combo extending are the most important things when we talk about PvP and blocks fruits, it is safe to assume that Ice is just the best fruit currently in the game. And this is all without mentioning how versatile Ice is as a fruit. For example, Ice is amazing as a fruit, sword, and even gun main. For a lot of other fruits, they can only be used really as a fruit main. Some good examples of this would be Dragon, Leo, and Venom. And yeah, I know I'm getting a bit off topic by listing other fruits, so if we're gonna compare how good Ice is as a sword, fruit, and gun main compared to Rumble, Ice overall is just better as a sword and even a gun main when we compare it to Rumble. Now, I know that's probably debatable to some people, but trust me, if you use Ice as a gun or sword main, you would know that it's just so much easier and better than Rumble. Now, I will say it is debatable on whether or not Ice is actually better as a fruit main compared to Rumble as a fruit main. Personally, I think that debate is very close just because Rumble has huge AoE, plus it does a lot of damage, but of course, you know, Ice makes up for that in its combo extending stuns, and just how we discussed its versatility. So basically what I'm trying to say here is Ice is the type of fruit you can use it for pretty much any build you want. Fruit, gun, sword main, it doesn't matter. And I think that's just a really cool thing about Ice. And one more time, I do want to clarify, this does not mean that I think Rumble is bad as a sword, fruit, or gun main. I'm just saying that Ice is just, in my opinion and personal experience, just much better and even easier as those three mains. So in conclusion, Ice is the best fruit for stuns, combo extending, and just being the best fruit to use on ground. And Rumble is one of the best fruits for AoE, stuns, mobility, and of course, it's also good in the air. So, with that being said, I personally think Ice is the best fruit in the game as it provides so many combos that are very versatile, and in my opinion, I do believe these combos are decently skilled as well. And yes, I know some Ice combos are unskilled, some are skilled, but I mean, same applies for Rumble, guys. Let's be honest. Same does apply for Rumble. And, you know, one more time, I want to clarify that I don't think Rumble is a bad fruit in any way at all. In fact, I believe Rumble is the second best fruit right behind ice. Alright, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to comment and hopefully I can answer them. Now with that being said, hope you all enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!